Scares the hell out of me.
There we go. Okay, we are all set. All right, welcome everyone to the regular town council meeting for the town of Pittsfield, Tuesday, July 21st. Could we all stand, please, for I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please have a brief moment of silence, please. Thank you. Our next item is adoption of minutes. I thought before we did that we could go around the room and say who's present, because we cannot see on the video cameras. We can't see all the people that in the room, especially the counselors. So can we go ahead and just say who we are and that we're present, if that's okay? Do you want to start, please?
So what? Are you present? What's your name? Are you present?
Pete Walkersvise, Councilor District 3, President.
Thank you.
Deb Billing, Councilor at Large.
Heather Donahue, Mayor, Councilor, District 4.
Matt Bolster, President, Deputy Mayor, Councilor at Large.
Timothy Nichols, present. District 1.
Amanda Collmore, Councilor at Large, present.
Thank you. And Catherine?
Catherine was town manager, and 2 members of the audience.
Oh, Mike Gray. And Bob Stackhouse, Pittsfield Citizen.
Thank you. Adoption of minutes for the regular meeting held on July 7th, 2020. We'll look for a motion.
Move we adopt minutes from town council meeting of Tuesday, July 7th, 2020.
Second?
I just had a quick question. And I'm sorry I wasn't here. Being 2 hours behind made it difficult. And there's not good reception in national parks.
That's the idea.
Not a lot of cell towers, huh?
No, there wasn't. There were a
There's
lot
a
of wild
reason.
horses and bison, though. I just had a question about the recycling committee report. The website and social media part. It says that you mention it, but it doesn't say what was mentioned about it, and I was just curious what the plan was for that.
Well, what we are going to do is discuss trying to get it on Facebook and on the town website, and doing some video clips with Donnie down the road that we could do. Again, he's extremely busy, like all the department heads are, and I'll get into that. I got a shortened up version of a report. But the plan going ahead is they were going to see if Jane Woodruff would be interested, or other people would be interested in assisting with that. You're looking at the wrong guy to ask to do that, because I screw my tablet up every day. But
Well, if you need help, let me know too.
okay. But that, going ahead, that's the plan that we have. We were going to put them obviously in the theater, but that's not going to happen. So what we'll do is we'll improvise and try to put them on Facebook, the town website, maybe a YouTube video down the road. These are little things, and we want to involve the department heads that, and different people that are working with the recycling part of that to promote. It wouldn't be just Donnie, it'd be some of his other guys that work with him and different people. So
And that's opposed to having people come into the center? You'll be
No.
advertising this
no,
stuff? or-
this would be in addition to.
Okay, that's all I needed.
Yep.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, and I did have one question too about number 8 under the town manager's report. It says the pool will be open 1 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 6 to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday. But at the end of that little segment on the pool, it says, as there are less lessons, there is no more open swim time, and I'm not exactly sure what that means.
All right, so they used to have the lessons go into the afternoon.
Right.
And because there are less people signed up as we thought, they're able to extend the number of hours for the open swim.
Okay.
Which will work out good because, and it even gives them an hour lunch, but we get more hours for open swim. And as of the date that I was listing that for the council, they were not absolutely sure what their hours would be on Saturday.
Okay, I was just curious because the way I read it was saying that because there are less lessons, there's no more open swim at all. And so that's why I was confused, because just before we had said that, and I just wanted to
Yeah,
clarify.
even more open swim now.
Yes. Thank you. So instead of saying there is no more open swim time, we should probably amend that to say there is even more open swim time.
Okay, I'll do a technical change later.
So I'd like to, yeah, it's a technical change, so it doesn't need a motion, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I had for comments.
Counselor, any other questions or comments regarding the minutes? Not hearing any. We'll vote to accept those. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. Presentations, congratulations, and introductions, community and economic development activities and events.
Yes, for presentations, congratulations, and introductions, the first item is community and economic development activities and events. So we are excited that we will be having the traditional Egg Festival Window Contest in August of 2020. Faith Humphrey, one of the town's long-term election workers, will be organizing the contest. Currently, she is looking at Friday, August 21st, 2020 with an Egg Festival type theme. So more details will be available shortly regarding how that will be set up. And of course, that is something that can be done with safety because of the being outside and having significant area. Number 2, under community and economic development, a number of events have been canceled along with the larger activities, but all of the regular meetings have all started up in earnest here. So we have the Kennebec Valley Council of Governments, KVCOG, the Somerset Economic Development Corporation, SEDC, the Kennebec Regional Disposal Area for Development on First Park for their KRDA General Assembly, their Executive Committee, and their First Park Marketing Committee. The KenSum, or the Kennebec Somerset Transition Team, is also meeting, as well as Pittsfield Economic Expansion Corporation, PEAK, Board of Directors. And so, with the exception of one of those groups, all meetings are on Zoom, so this saves a lot of time for everybody, so that we can actually be on the meetings, run them, and do other work at the same time. So this works out really good. Next item is the town's paving letter for sections of Route 100, Route 11, was issued to the state. There is a copy in your package. It was sent to the state officials. We went out and looked at Route 100, Route 11, which is basically North Main and Main Street from the Detroit Pittsfield line down to the back area of the industrial park, and asked for several areas to be paved. And so far, even with phone calls, we have not had any acknowledgement. So we will continue this up to where Honeywell got moved there. Honeywell is going to be paved this summer in August. So we'll keep at it in the hope that we can just get a skinny mix put down. That would be helpful in those areas, because the actual project for what we call North Main for the Main Street reconstruction, it is delayed, definitely. It's starting to get behind again. There's just so much work that the state has. But we did receive a schedule for the rehabilitation or reconstruction project for our project, which is called 21812.00 Pittsfield Route 11. We have received the alignments and the paperwork that we need to start our design work. So the Civil Engineering Services, CES engineer Chip Pascal is working on that now. He's got some questions, and so we're going to be going over that, but he has gotten some basic information so we can start design work, which is good. The state is talking about a preliminary public hearing, which will be done virtually by September. So that would be in August to September. I would assume September for the state's project. And then preliminary plan development will be done through September 30th. They then look at a whole host of other items, including environmental and historic, preliminary design, preliminary utility coordination, and then final design of the project, which runs from, as I stated, the Detroit-Pittsfield line going down what used to be called South Main Street, a little bit past Nickel Street, on Main Street, North Main Street. They are looking at having that completed in December. And so then the project continues with a real public hearing, or the formal public hearing, in December 2020 to January 2021, and likely it will be in 2021. And then we continue on with all of the actual projects, negotiation for right-of-ways and plan specifications, and advertise the project in December 2021, with it being constructed in spring to summer. Well, it's going to go on for a while. They're saying March 2021 to July 2022. So this is a large project. There's a lot of utilities. There's a lot of items under the road. It's going to be best if we can figure out a way that our sidewalk project, the monies can just be transferred from the state to MDOT, and they handle the project, just because it has to slide together exactly in the right of way. And having two different contractors do this is not going to be good. But we have to figure out how the money works and how the town still has the ability for input. So that'll be something that we'll be working on. So we have some basic information. We can start designing the project just preliminarily. There will be a preliminary discussion coming up as a virtual involvement, probably in September, with the formal public hearing in January 2021. And those are just preliminary dates, and as we know, this project has fallen behind multiple times now, partially because of funding, partially because of the complexity, partially because the town did get the huge loan from that Alaska Road back then, which then got us skipped over for a year. Because we got $250,000 awarded to us, and so all of a sudden we had to work on that project. And then the state meant to come back the next year, and then they didn't have enough money, and then things kept on with people's schedules. The projects, some bridge projects had issues, and then COVID-19, so there's been a whole variety of items. So we have a schedule. It is preliminary. We had asked for monthly meetings just over Zoom to talk to the state, so we'll remind them of that, and ask about the paving, temporary paving.
Catherine, when you have the official dates for the public hearings, will you
No,
let us know?
these are just very, very.
No, I mean, when you get them, will you let us know?
Oh,
so that
yes,
we
I'll
can
announce
attend?
those. We'll want to announce them to everyone.
Yes.
We'll probably, even in the past, when we've had these, we put them into Rolling Thunder.
Okay.
We'll publicize them everywhere, because the state will just take out one ad, likely in the Bangor or the Morning Sentinel, because those are the papers, they're required to do it.
Right.
The proper advertising under the state law. We'll take out ads and notices everywhere. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you said that construction is March 2021 to July 2022?
Yes.
Okay.
It's going to be a major project, definitely. Things are in close quarters down in the Main Street area. All right, very good. Going on to the letter to the planning board, which the town council had authorized and looked over, was sent to and given to the planning board members at the meeting on July 15th, and all members received it except for two, and I sent those out in the mail to them. The last item that I'd like to mention is the RFP for commercial real estate services. After the town council's motions at the last meeting to start the process to list and sell the theater, we went out with a list of commercial real estate agents from Augusta up. If you contact those in Southern Maine, they generally do not handle properties this far up. We have run across that with First Park, which is a major park, and you cannot get real estate agents without paying significant funds, and we do not have that. So we made a list, contacted them, found out who was available, drafted an RFP, went and took photos of what we have, and have in front of you this evening, after the Pittsfield Economic Expansion Corporation looked at the RFP, a package for you to look at and to take home with you. But basically, we've got a request for proposals for commercial realtor listing services. We had Gary Jordan and the Pittsfield Economic Expansion Corporation look this over. Mike Gray, Deborah Billings, and Gary Jordan had some questions and comments, so we incorporated those. The one item that's sort of outstanding is that in case we got to the point where the Pittsfield Economic Expansion Corporation or some other entity had to purchase this for some reason, we still would likely, under this setup, have to pay for the real estate agent's commission. And so we posed that question to Gary Jordan, and he explained that we should, because the real estate agent, as he is a real estate agent, he's thinking, how does a real estate agent think? And he indicated they would have advertising costs, promotion costs, staff time, and so that's something that we'll have to think about. Maybe we negotiate something in the contract and add some language in it, don't even deal with it now. Because if Peak ended up having to acquire this, that's the town acquiring this. And we already own it, so, I know that was something thought, we might just get stuck, or maybe somebody would want to work with Peak but not with the town. You never know what will happen with these things. Peak was very successful with a lot of tax increment financing districts. Back in the 90s, there were 5 of them, and then we've had 3 since then, and those have worked out well. And Peak owns some buildings, and I will say, on behalf of myself or Peak, we're not interested in having this. It's just, the option was mentioned.
I'm a little confused. So Peak already had a meeting to review this?
No, I sent it out to Peak.
Okay. This is the first time I'm seeing it, so
Yes.
that's why I was a little confused.
Mhm.
And you said something about if Peak assumes possession of this to work with another entity, then Peak would need to pay the realtor fee?
If it went under Peak's name, yes, if the deed got transferred. This was something Mike Gray mentioned. I gave it to Mike, Gary to look over. And they mentioned differing opinions on this. But let's say we sign a contract with a real estate agent, and it states they'll get a commission if they sell it. It says what the commission will be, and then all of a sudden nobody comes forward and Peak runs in. At this point, they would still have to pay the commission unless we figured out some language in the brokerage contract. That was just a point that was brought up. And so Michael had brought that up, and he's got his hand up, and Gary said, well, they should, so you've got differing opinions.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely have a different opinion. And I will tell you that typically with any real estate transaction, for instance, if we had somebody right now who had already looked at the theater, and we had talked to them and gave them all the details, we could reserve out those people from having to deal with the real estate people.
If you know who they are.
If you know, well, yeah, I mean, you obviously know. Now, I can assure you that Peak has absolutely no desire to be acquiring real estate, especially the theater. But as Catherine mentioned, if we, and it's not beyond the realm of possibility, I've talked to several people already, that it might be advantageous for a purchaser to have Peak acquire that and then make a donation, or actually have Peak set a value, give them a tax credit, and dispose of the property. So there are several avenues that we could approach, but I can tell you right now, Peak has absolutely no desire to be acquiring any real estate, especially the theater, so.
Well, the other thing too is that, real estate fees are usually based on purchase price, it's usually percentage. So
Exactly.
if the town were to transfer the, theater to Peak for that purpose for a very small sum, then
$1.
that's what the commission would be based on, which, you know, if that were the case, it would be better to do it before a realtor put in all of the work, because it is very time consuming, especially with a project like this. Just taking the photos and posting them online and doing all the listings and all the comparisons, all those things that go into that, would be very time consuming. And so I agree with Gary, you know, that a real estate listing agent should receive their commission if it's an outright sale. That being said, everything in contracts are up for negotiations too. So part of the contract could be that the buyer pays all of the fees.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so there's options there, and it's not a yes or no or a black and white thing. Everything's up for negotiation when you're doing contracts. So.
What are we looking to sell this for?
Well, that's what the realtor would be doing. They would be setting a price based on other.
I thought we just wanted to dump it.
Well,
I mean, really, that's what we had talked about. I thought we just wanted
come
to get rid
that.
of it.
It might come to that, but I mean, as a town property, we need to do diligence with it as well. So. there's that.
We'll start out at the highest level here and try
Work
to
our
sell
way
it.
down like we do with the other properties.
Well, I remember hearing at one of our meetings, Pete Vigu saying that it needs something like $1 million worth of work. So how much are we actually going to get out of the building?
That remains to be seen.
Right.
Do we need to have like an appraiser, like a real estate appraiser before we get a real estate agent, or do we?
No, I don't think we need to
Typically,
go
the
that
agent
far. You start with an agent.
would have an appraisal done if they could do it themselves. If it's a big enough firm, they would have an appraiser.
Okay.
You know, they're not gonna set it so high that they can't move it.
Well, I've seen a lot of properties here in town that never sell because they have dream prices, and I don't wanna see the same with this.
We don't want that.
I can't imagine it being a green price.
We're looking at
Well, there's a
selling it
difference.
at an extremely reasonable price so that we can, but we're not just gonna dump it.
There's a difference too between an appraisal that the realtor would do. They're looking at comparison property and the prices that those have sold for. That's the type of appraisal that they do versus an appraisal that might be required by a buyer's financing institution is a very different type of appraisal. And that's where it's very detailed, and you would have a walkthrough, and you would have like, well, if it were a home, you would have like a home inspector, and so that's where probably a lot of properties in town get hung up, is that, you know, there's a value to it, and then there's what the bank says they'll actually lend on it, and those things don't always match up.
Especially in old buildings.
So for the real estate company we end up with, or during the discussions, we have the value that's on it for the town's insurance policy from the reviews that took place, and then the economic adjustment each year. And we also have the assessor, who's extremely busy, but can go out and revalue it, give us an idea. And then we have the theater assessment that tells us what needs to be done. So all of this will go into the mix. It's obvious we can't set the price for what it would be without considering in all the repairs that are needed. So we need a reasonable price.
Do we know
It
what
does
it's
have
currently
value.
valued at, Catherine?
Pardon?
Do you know what it's currently valued at?
It would be over 800,000.
Okay.
I was gonna say this for my reports, it's just food for thought to put out there. And again, when you're dealing with Congress, who the heck knows? But I was looking online, and there is a movement afoot for privately owned movie theaters that they are starting to go to Congress and put these things in the Save Our Theaters thing across the eastern part of the United States. Again, that could be bill number 3,824 that we'll consider in-house before we'll even take a vote on it. But if a private person's going to buy that, that may be something to tell them, if they're not aware of it, that could happen down the road, that they can look at that, and there may be some sort of government program that may help them out, but it's for private movie theaters that are privately owned. So I was just peeking at it online today. So I just want to throw that out there. It's a good selling point to give to somebody that wants to buy it privately if they decide they want to make it a theater.
Catherine, is this going to be coming to us for an action item to approve an RFP?
No, because you already made a very general motion that covers all of this. You made the motion to list and sell it, so we didn't want to just list it without showing you
This is
what
more
we have.
advisory tonight,
Yes,
correct? We're not
yes.
taking any action on it.
Yes, it would be wonderful if we could post that tomorrow afternoon, if you had time just to skim through it. I will say, this is a pretty form, it's very nicely set up, but it repeats itself several times. It's just a form that got developed, but basically it's got a couple of pages that has the information on it. And then, so that you could see what we were dealing with, and this is not what would be published on the website, because the photos are kind of dark, but the photos that we took, we went through the building and took a variety of photos so you could see what we're actually dealing with, so you have a good understanding. The photos need to be lightened or need to go through and have a better camera, but it does show you that it is an interesting building.
Catherine, so this says proposals no later than August 11th. So at that time, would we then have an action item on who to actually hire?
We want
for that?
to interview them. Let's say we get a couple of people. Gary Jordan said that he would interview, so we thought that would be good. We would quickly contact Pete a little bit ahead of time and likely set up a meeting and have Pete interview with it too.
Okay.
I have one other question about the renovations bin that you have here. Can that money, I know that it's allotted for purposes of renovations, but since this is money we have set aside already, correct?
Yeah.
That money could be utilized to make any fixes that might have to happen for the sale too, because that's technically renovations?
That could be, yes.
Okay.
It was not how it was intended in the beginning, but it is renovation.
Right.
Yes, that's a good question. So let's go to the theater funds as of June 30th, 2020 to tell you exactly what we have regarding the theater. So as of June 30th, and we would not have the last partial internet bill, but we have everything else. The regular expense budget, monies we have left in that budget are $46,095.79. So obviously we'll have fuel, electricity will come out of that for the remaining of the year, but minute amounts. We also have what we have to list as an expense, so it's a negative for the theater expenses for the special revenues. The theater committee has special revenues for special events, so you'd have revenues and expenditures, and under the auditing principles, you'd have to run separate accounts, which we did. Then you have in the revenue budget a deficit because $52,508.53 has not been collected in the revenue budget, which would leave the revenues very low, and that is a large amount of money. For special revenues, we collected an additional $3,813.88 from events. So basically, if you took line 2 and line 4, the difference of that is how much their activities made for revenue for special events, because they are just running the special events in a different part of the budget. So when we add and subtract all these items together, the expense money we have available in the budget, the extra expenses from the special events, the revenue that has not been collected, and the monies we made from the special revenues, were in the deficit $3,548.86. And as you remember, I said when I was asked, if the theater committee started up the theater near the end of the year, let's say September, October, they had plenty of money in their expense budget, but they would not have been able to make their revenues, so we would have been really in the hole. So right now, this is pretty even, basically. And then you have reserve funding, which under the state law can only be used for its allocated purpose until the council declares that the project is completed or no longer valid. And so you have $28,880, which can be used for theater renovations. So that's where we're at for the theater.
Catherine, do we have a lot of surplus of candy and popcorn that's left in that building?
No, as this all transpired with COVID-19 and shutting things down, Jamie went in and cleaned out the items, and some of them were donated. Some of they had due dates which came up in June and July, so they were pretty much donated or given out to different groups. There wasn't much there. They kept a very low inventory.
Okay.
And there were some drinks too. So that's where we are on the theater. So you've got the commercial realtor listing services, a very short document, sort of repeats itself in here. If you could let me know if you have any changes or items that were concerned, maybe by 4 o'clock tomorrow if possible. And then we'll post this, we'll have the emails all ready to go to all the commercial realtors. And we will send this out and get the project going. We will also work a little bit more on the photos so that they're clearer and decide which ones will go on the website, and we'll do some promotion too.
Well, if we hire a realtor, they're gonna take photos, and we should use their photos.
Correct, but let's say all of a sudden we sent this out, and I know that this might be something that would be a rarity, but it has happened in places. Let's see, we sent this out, advertised it, said this was going on, all of a sudden somebody from New York City says, I want to buy the theater. You never know. So we might as well try it. You never know.
Is it possible to talk to Mark Schumpert and see if he'd be willing to take
Oh, better ones, yeah.
better
that would be-
pictures?
That would be, I thought of somebody else, but yeah, that would be good.
I mean, he does those beautiful pictures all around town. He might be willing to.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea, thank you. All right, so that's all that I had under regular economic development items. Thank you.
Okay. That brings us down to public hearings and old business, which there is none. Reports, council committees, finance committee, I don't believe we've had a meeting.
You'll have a scheduled meeting shortly once we look at the budget schedule.
Ordinance committee still has not met, and recycling committee?
Recycling committee had a short meeting on July 15th, basically reviewing what we'd gone over. And of course, Donnie Shute is heavily involved in some of this and some other department heads, and things have been very, very hectic. So things are moving slow, but we discussed different things like we did at the last meeting, reviewed going forward. We got the same plan in mind, setting up a drop-off time, and that's going to be coordinated between Donnie and Deanna Tilton, who runs the reuse center down there. They're going to set up the time as soon as they can to go in there and purge that building, clean it out, and then we can go in. Then they can go in and clean it, and then we can deal with it as items come until this COVID-19 restrictions have been loosened. Right now, they're still the same, so we really can't do anything else. We did discuss looking in the fall, combining a trash to treasure and Maine Recyclables Week and doing maybe one good project going forward. We'll discuss that in September when we get back. Our next meeting is September 16th. We decided to skip August unless things change, because we're basically reviewing at this point until, I mean, they can call us and tell us if they purge the building and things like that. We don't have to have a meeting for that particular reason. However, if things change, we are open to having another meeting in August if we need to. We kind of have to see how it is going forward. But we have the next scheduled meeting, unless things change, is September 16th. It was productive, but it was just basically reviewing and making a plan going forward. And we do want to do something in the fall to, you know, for Maine Recyclables Week in November, which is in November, and Trash to Treasure. We're looking at maybe doing something in October. We'll see how the COVID-19 restrictions are then. They may be different by then. Who knows? So it's kind of, we're going along as we go along, if that makes any sense. And that's where I'm at with that.
Thank you. Board and committee updates by town councilors and manager. Catherine, I think you want that one?
Yes, for board and committee updates, I have the new Parks and Recreation Committee organized. They had their first meeting last Thursday on the 16th, a very productive meeting. They met at 7 p.m. in the council chambers. The members are Ben Hall, Lindsay Turner, Devin Barney, Jim Chiquette, Jeremy Fennell, Amanda Mack, Jennifer Faucier. So they elected officers. The chair is Ben Hall. No surprise there, Ben's been organizing it. He did a very good job. Vice chair is Jennifer Saucier, and secretary is Amanda Mack, and we already have our first set of minutes, and I have copies in case anyone's interested. But basically, we've reviewed all the budgets and how all the accounts are set up, because we have the regular recreation budget just for summer program. Then we have all of the sports and other accounts and all the special revenues. So I passed those all out. We went over Recreation Director Susie's input, talking about the programs, the pros and cons on how they're set up, the difficulty in getting a facility for recreation activities in the winter, and the fact that we have to rent the Palmyra Community Center for practices. And also talked about getting volunteers, and the committee was quite enthusiastic about setting up new programs, working with Susie on the current programs, figuring out how we can set up platforms to reach more of the community. And so, of course, they were interested in online sign-ups, which will not be through the program that we have, because we tried to set up the theater and it just would not work properly. There are recreation program, online programs, and my former town had a nice recreation program set up, but it is a specialized program and does cost money to have. It will not come through the regular State of Maine site that we have. It will not work. We tried to do the theater, it didn't work. It's the same type of thing. But there are programs out there. They'll look into those. They talked about having their own website or working on the town's website on the recreation page. The Facebook page is kept up really well. And so there needs to be coordination so that when Susie updates the Facebook page, the recreation committee of the town, or both of us, will get the information, then we can repost it too. Talked about subjects for future meetings, fundraising ideas, a master plan, which would be absolutely wonderful, because if there's a master plan of your capital improvements that are needed for the recreation, even if it's only on your equipment, we can go apply for these little grants from the banks. It's just that we don't have that now. And so anytime I've downloaded the applications, you have to have a plan, and you have to have this all set up correctly, and we just have not applied because there's no long-range plan. So that's something that they'll be working on. Their next meeting will be Thursday, July 30th at 6:30 p.m. here at the town office. Thank you.
Can you repeat that date? Sorry.
Yes, it'll be on the calendar too. It will be Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m.
Thank you.
Catherine, I had a question. You mentioned that they're renting the Palmyra Community Center for winter activities. Are any of those activities able to take place in like the snowmobile building? Is there a way that we could rent a building in town versus renting a building out of town for any of those programs?
It's set up so they can do the basketball program.
Okay.
So that facility in Palmyra works well for that.
Okay.
That's the only thing they're renting it for.
Okay. I wasn't sure which programs it was.
Yeah, they had some other activities going, but it's really for basketball.
Yeah, and Deborah had mentioned a couple of times about having art programming through the rec department. Is there?
They were very receptive to that. We
Okay.
talked about that too.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I had asked if they had talked about having art programming. You had mentioned having art
yes.
programming like through the winter, as well as in offering it in the summertime.
No, and I'd be glad to talk with them about
Yeah.
it if they
So they're very
chose.
receptive to that. Okay, so, and that was the only report you had under that?
Correct, yes.
Okay, town manager's report. Still
All right, very good. We'll try to zip down through this quickly here. Number one, just to thank everybody during the ongoing civil emergency. Everybody has been very cooperative. We see fewer people with masks now as it gets warmer here. We had about 95% compliance, and I think we're down to about 90% now. So we encourage everybody to wear the masks if they can. Number two, the election results from Tuesday, July 14th. We had the election set up here from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. With the COVID-19 requirements, the building was set up differently. We had a different flow. It worked out really well, very, very well. The flow worked very comfortable for everyone. Now, for a November election, though, we are a little bit concerned that the fact that we have less booths available due to the size of the room may be an issue if we have really long lines of people, and the fact that we've got an in and out. So the town clerk is going to be looking at other locations and contacting the state to find out what the period of time is that we can change our polling location. Right now, we're reserved for this location. It may be a 90 or 120 day period, and if so, if it's 90, we're almost there. If it's 120, we're over that. But if you're going to change your polling location, you need to figure that out way ahead of time. But we will look that up. We need to have a facility that will be handicap accessible, larger than this one, and work out well for COVID-19, and have plenty of parking. So for election results, those are posted on the town website. Very briefly, we had the Democratic representative to the U.S. Congress. Mr. Golden got 229 votes. State Senator Catherine Wilder got 214 for the Democrat. For Democrat representative to the state legislature, Ethan Brownell got 224. United States Senator Sarah Gideon got 169, and then there's a variety of other results. In the Republican representative to U.S. Congress, well, almost a tie here. Adrian Bennett got 117 votes. Dale Crafts got 118. Eric Brakely got 69. For the Republican state senator, Bradley Farron got 245. For the Republican representative to the state legislature, Amanda Collmore got 275. For the Republican United States Senator, Susan Collins got 282. Referendum questions, number 1, yes was 429, no was 234. And question 2, yes was 507, no was 158. And the school referendum questions didn't go on for a while due to some, they had to verify all of those, but everything passed almost 2-1. And then on the town's District 2 counselor, as we were discussing before the meeting, there were many, many write-ins, 4 pages of them. The people had 1 and 2 votes. It was obvious there was no campaign, and that people had just written down folks that they knew were in that district. And so we got a legal opinion, finding out, of course, that no one won, which is what we thought. And we could not go and just start calling out people that had the most votes and seeing what was going to go on, and we don't have the authority to do that. So we did ask some questions about some other items with that, because nomination papers on the schedule that's just been put together will be available on August 10th for the Counselor District 2 and a Counselor at-Large position. And then the papers will need to be returned by September 21st. So let's say one person returned papers. Could we appoint somebody, that person, and then they start their term early? So that's a question we've asked. Now, if 2 people return the papers or 3, you couldn't do that because that's not fair. So that's a question that we've asked to see what happens here. So nomination papers are coming right out on August 10th and need to be back on September 21st, and we will have that heavily advertised. And that will be for Counselor at Large and Counselor District 2, District 2 being the one that is the one where we had the resignation at the beginning of the year. There will be 3 seats available on the school board.
Catherine, are we able to appoint someone like next week or next meeting?
I have been told no, then I was told yes, and then I was told no, so I'm still waiting for an answer on that. There's different opinions depending on who you talk to. It's how you read, if you go back and read the charter, you'll see why. You can read it 2 ways.
Yeah.
Which is why we've always gone, if they're more than 6 months, we always had the elections. If it was less than 6 months, we always appointed, and that was it. And this one's not working out as easy as usual.
Well, it's less than 6 months now.
Right, but it originally started to be more than 6 months. That's the issue. There's a legal question there. It depends on how you read it. You can read it 2 different ways, and any attorney that you ask, everybody's got a different opinion on this.
My opinion is if nobody took out the papers, then nobody's really interested in this position. Unless you know
Exactly.
somebody that we can appoint.
Well,
Who would we appoint?
I think the other thing that we have to keep in mind is that the papers were released during this whole COVID thing, when
Mhm.
nobody could
Correct.
actually gather signatures.
Correct, yeah.
And so that could have been another blocking point,
Could be.
which is why we have 30 write-ins.
Could be, but I would assume if you're a person that's really interested in the position, you would email the mayor or the town manager and say, hey, look, I'm really looking to join your board, how do I do so with COVID-19 going on? But I haven't heard of
I
anything.
agree with
Unique
Matt.
position.
Yeah, it's a unique set of circumstances. I mean, I've seen vacancies before, I've never seen anything quite like this, but we've
Mhm.
never had COVID-19 and all the other items. So lots of things are strange this year.
I would find it kind of odd to appoint somebody anyway. I don't think this group could be impartial enough to appoint somebody to fill that position, when really it should be the citizens that vote on it.
Well, we appoint people to serve on boards all the time, to represent
Yes,
the
but
citizens.
they don't have to be elected. You have to be elected to sit on this council.
Well, I think it's different though, if they take out papers for the November election, why couldn't we
Mm.
appoint them for the end of the year?
See, that's what I'm thinking. So
Yeah,
that's-
I agree.
Yeah, if they're taking out papers for November election and they're uncontested,
Right, yeah, that's a no-brainer.
I
right there,
mean,
definitely, yeah.
why can't they finish out the year with us?
So
Yeah.
that was my big question. I think that one might be clearer.
You just have to wait until
Get a legal opinion.
Until
September
September
21st.
21st.
Now, I might be totally wrong, but that seemed to have comments, that seemed to be clear, but it still doesn't meet that charter requirement, so we'll just have to find out. I asked that question. Because if one person takes it out, there's only one, it's clear what's gonna happen, why can't they start early?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I was first on the council, I wanted to be on the council, and the position for District 3 opened up because the guy who was sitting there passed away. And this was in July or August, Tim, maybe?
August, I think.
It must have
Yeah.
been after
And
July.
Dave Flint was the mayor at that point, so I called him and asked him about being on the council, and he said, just show up to the meeting, we'll probably appoint you. But, I can't remember her name, Rick Curtis's wife.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, she'd been on the council before and had prior experience, so they ended up appointing her to finish the year, and then I took out the papers and was unopposed, but, so, they did appoint somebody at that point.
After, it was, they resigned or passed away
He passed
after
away,
July.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
know,
my
that might
concern
be-
is we're going into budget season, and
Yeah.
I would rather have a full board.
Right, and that's the reason they picked her, because she
People.
had prior council experience and had been to the budget session before, knew what was going on, so.
Mhm,
Yeah. And my concern with that would be not having, appointing someone, say, we get to September 21st, and then we just throw them right into the budget, discussions beginning in October, without the benefit of, being
Having been seated.
and participating for a little bit ahead of time. So that was my concern with that. But if we're gonna wait until the 21st of September and see who turns in papers, then that's what we'll do.
And what if nobody turns in papers?
Yeah,
Let's not put that energy out there.
No, let's heavily
I'm
advertise
trying
it.
to be the pragmatist.
The District 2, I know it starts at the railroad tracks and comes toward the library and toward NCI. Where does it end?
I have what we have upstairs, and I can give you a copy of that, we have a list of each of the roads that's involved, which makes it easier, and there's a map overall.
We used to have a
There's
map hanging
color-coded.
down here.
Yes, I remember there being a map, but
Yeah,
it's
our
not
maps,
here
our
anymore.
maps have disappeared. We had one with the
Bring back-
overlay and
I don't
one
think we
with
need that calendar,
the
I think we
voting
need a
maps.
map.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the maps come back.
Me either.
Okay, so we'll.
I'm just curious
I have-
because that's my district, so if I know somebody who lives in that
Sure.
area, but I don't know exactly what streets.
Yeah, I'll get you the list.
Thank you.
The list of streets for District 2 is less than the other listings, but there's more people in it, so. it's a
Right, I
small
knew we were
area.
a small area,
Yeah.
which is why I wasn't sure how far we went.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah,
Thank you, Kathy.
I'll get you that copy. It's also the same list as for the old recycling curbside pickup, schedule. Some things can be used for
Okay.
several purposes.
I had one more question.
Okay. Thank you.
Regarding this. My husband and I did absentee ballots, and with COVID-19, is there a way that we can advertise or promote the use of the absentee ballots?
We did do that, yeah.
You did?
And we had a lot of, they had never seen so many people with absentee ballots. They were absentee balloting for days.
It might be worth it to spend the money to advertise in big papers, because that will, if people are willing to do that and know that we have that option, that don't already know it, it could save people standing in line,
Oh, certainly.
could shorten the line.
No, it's a good idea. We did that, and we had after I sent it out on Facebook, we had a whole flurry of people that came in. And they all said, we heard that you said that there were gonna be lines and lines, so we came in early.
Well,
So-
with the social distancing and everything, and I don't see that changing, by the time we get to election, I think we're gonna see another wave of COVID-19, so.
I think that if we're going to do that though, seriously, in those advertising things, although I don't approve necessarily of spending money in the Bangor Daily or Waterville,
Yeah.
because those newspapers are not purchased anymore. I would suggest that we also be clear. I've read multiple articles where like thousands, tens of thousands of these absentee ballots had to be thrown out because people forgot to sign the envelope, or their signature didn't match their registration signature and stuff like that. So just making sure that people understand that you have to sign that stuff when you send it in, so that we don't have that occurrence here in town. Because we want everybody's vote to count.
Certainly. No, we can do a list. I'm sure the state has a list.
Nicole's pretty good about telling people too when she hands out those
You get
packets.
less.
Oh, yes,
than you
yes.
have to do.
Most people, I will be frank, most people didn't hear in the office. I know it's on such a flurry, and of course, they're passing it in. We have to verify things so that it's signed at that time.
So we'll have a concerted push to make people aware of the procedures and the opportunities to vote absentee
Yeah, it worked out
in order
good.
to avoid the long lines. Everything what I've heard is we're gonna have very large turnout, like
Yes.
historic turnout beyond the last
Yes.
time we had a presidential
we think we know
election, so
why.
we need to prepare for that, so, okay.
Yeah, we will do that.
Catherine.
All right, on to, number 3 for the town office, reopening. We are back to our regular schedule, the day after the election. So as of June 15th, we're back to Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, open 8 a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m., closed on Wednesdays. And that actually wasn't planned, but worked out good, so that every time there's an election, people can take their time off and sleep, they're up late, and not used to work until, 10, 11, 12 at night. So then they take their time off the next day. So that actually worked out good.
Be later than that in November.
Yeah. That might not be good, but we shall see. All right, so that worked out well, and our hours have been working out well for people. On to number 4, online services for town business updates. We have a whole listing of services that are online. People have been using them. This has been a total challenge with the bank reconciliations because the modules don't work quite right from the state and the Trio, so we're working on this now. I have 3 people working on this, and lately I believe I'll be working on it too to resolve that, because this was very easy before we did the online processing, and before COVID-19 and everybody going home, this worked out a lot easier than it does now. It's like something has changed or something has happened. So at the state level, so we will be working on that. Number 5, new registration list. We have a list of everything needed for your registrations and the different types that there are outside the building before people come in. So that's been very helpful, along with the online services. We do have a lot of people that have told us that no matter what, they're not using the online services. They're coming into the town office. So, it's just a lot of this is what you're used to. I mean, I would try it, but a lot of people that are older or are used to doing something like to do it the same way. But younger folks seem to be using it a lot, so that's good. So anything helps to give different options. Number 6, the transfer station new fee system. That goes into effect on August 1st. We have sold 170 landfill stickers. We need to sell more. We had a huge flurry after each ad. One more Rolling Thunder ad, and I will send it out on Facebook, which will create a whole new interesting items here, questions I'm sure. But we sent out a letter to all of the contractors that had been paying the town that got receipts. If somebody came in and just said charge it for cash, and they didn't put their name down, we wouldn't know who they were, but it would be unlikely. It might be one a year or something. So all contractors who run businesses were given the list so that, sent out so they would know what was going on. The citizens, as we have each ad, as a big flurry comes in, so we'll do one more ad in the Rolling Thunder next week, and then August 1st is the date of the new arrangement in which you have to have your landfill permit or you can't go to the landfill. So this will be interesting. We'll do some heavy advertising on Facebook every day. Number 7, code enforcement violations. Asked a question about the property on Somerset Avenue, so I just wanted to mention that we did get all the paperwork ready from the code officer's files. The attorney did get everything ready to go. It's waiting for the court when the court opens up. We have contacted the individual who owns the property yet again and said this is going on, please fix things. And there was some action on Somerset Avenue, but not a lot. And no action on the other Manson Street. So those are the 2 that you would approve, and a few others we've been contacting too. Number 8, Pittsfield Summer Recreation Program. Small numbers, but everything has been going along really well. They've gotten down a good pattern of how to clean things and keep things going. Number 9 is the Sibley Pond Bridge dedication. And so we were advised that the Sibley Pond Bridge renaming process will take place with a little ceremony at the Canaan Farmers Hall, which is the Old Grange Hall, tomorrow, Wednesday, July 22nd at 11 a.m. And that is right on Main Street in Canaan. So that's right in that little downtown area. And so this is the bridge that was renamed after William Harris, a World War II veteran who worked for Maine DOT for over 30 years. So they're inviting anyone who would like to come from the town to come.
What time was that again?
Yeah, we just got the notice. It is at 11 a.m. Wednesday, July 22nd.
That's why they give a lot of notice on this.
I know. Well, remember, we
The
did.
naming was after the fact. Oh yeah, it's in Pittsfield too. Yeah, seriously.
Tax liens. The 2019 tax liens went on. We had less than usual, which was good. I thought this was noteworthy to tell you. Usually we're up in the 130s to 140s. We had 126 tax liens that went on, so this was good news. Number 11, Project Canopy grant announcement. Only mentioning this since we all got a letter and you're aware that we got awarded the grant several months ago. It's just being announced now. This shows the state is starting to get caught up. They're bringing the people back to the Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry. So they're starting to go back in the office and everything. So the 2020 Project Canopy grants went to Belgrade Lakes Region, Alfred, Bangor, Belfast, Cumberland, Farmington Conservation Commission, Southern Aroostook Soil and Water Conservation District, Town of Wellington, City of Auburn, Freeport, Lewiston, Pittsfield, Poland, Rockland, and Sanford. So we were very fortunate. And that is for 23s. Porta potties for the park. One of our favorite subjects here. All right, so the porta potties are at Hawthorne Park. No complaints. One issue on which the porta potty was tipped over, but we went and straightened that out. Nature's Way has given us a good price on the 2 porta potties. We have a regular one and a handicap one. Very customer orientated, has come back and cleaned things more times than the other companies would do. And in fact, at the transfer station, we're going to be changing over to Nature's Way. We've had a long-term contract with another company. So this is a good item with this setup because we've left them open so that when the children are playing and games are going on that are not the organized events for recreation, they're open so the small children and the families can use them, which is good because that's always been an issue. You can't leave Hawthorne Park restrooms open all the time because of what will happen, or Manson Park, and then you have the poor children there, you know, that need to use them and they're locked up. So we've left these open and we will do this as long as they're not damaged. So that's an extra benefit there. The Public Works Department and the Code Officer, Building Inspector, have not had time to go down to the Hawthorne Park restrooms. We thought this was a good chance to look these over and see what needs to be done for repairs besides the cleaning that's needed. But what would be needed for repairs and get this all done while we're using the porta potties. So far that's worked out well. So the concerts and anybody else who's there in the park all day long can use them. Number 13, the Cape Cod textile recycling is coming. We keep hearing it is, so we wanted to tell you. That would be a textile recycling program with apparel impact. So if somebody has a whole variety of blankets and different types of textiles and things, keep them because shortly you can dispose of them and help us out here. Number 14, the fire station and the municipal building projects here for the ceiling. Washing, sealing, and repointing has been going on along really well. The workers are very, very nice and keep everything extremely tidy, so that's been good. Meanwhile, people are working above them on the roof on the fire station and the municipal building roof project. We knew when everything arrived because unfortunately they dropped the tiles a little bit too heavy and the whole building shook here. So we ran out to see what was going on, and sure enough, the company was there, everything had come down. They assured us it did not damage the roof, and there was flexibility there. So they have been working on the roof project, and the fire station roof has been found to be in very good condition, a little bit better than what people thought. So there are no big breaks or anything. The whole side of the roof is pulling away from the top of the municipal building on all sides, so it had to be repaired. We're probably 4 years ahead of a collapse, so this is good, very good. We're ahead of it. The towns are notoriously not, so we wanted to make sure we got this done. But it's pulling away from the sides. It wasn't actually leaking or anything. So they haven't gotten over to the municipal building part, but you can see the large loads of the material up on top of the roof, which they assure us it's certainly sturdy and can support that. But it was time to fix the roof, so this has worked out really good to date. And there is an item later on the agenda, just in case we need additional funds. And that is it for the report. I wanted to note that there is a nice little grant program, which I've left copies out on the table, for Somerset County businesses that need assistance. There is a grant program of up to $5,000 for COVID-19 expenses. It doesn't have a lot of requirements, but it's run by a group, several entities in Skowhegan, including the Somerset Economic Development Corporation that covers the entire county. So we sent that out over Facebook. We're going to put it on the town website because I have a nice little handout now and distribute that as widely as we can. We have an email address system set up for the businesses, so we're going to send that out. Now, emails do change quite often, so we'll probably get quite a few returned, but we'll get to some of the businesses, so that will be good. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. New business, resolution 20-84.
Resolution 20-84. Resolved that the town council approve the request for proposals for 2020 sand purchase and authorize the public works foreman to seek bids for same.
Move we accept resolution 20-84.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion, councilors?
pretty much housekeeping.
We don't have anyone on Zoom tonight. Audience members, any questions about the 2020 winter sand bid?
No? Is there anyone on Zoom tonight?
No.
Oh.
No, it's kind of a boring agenda, is what I was told.
We don't usually send out.
I don't mind boring
They're always very
agendas
exciting.
every once in a while.
Okay, so, we were very thorough a couple years ago about our sand bidding, so I think we've had a lot of discussion about that. So if nobody has anything new to add to that discussion, then, we'll look for a vote here. All those in favor of the, current bid document there, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard, so that passes. I'm glad we're doing it a little earlier this year.
Yes, and we'll get it even earlier next year.
Yeah. Resolution 20-85.
Resolution 20-85, resolved that the town council approve an amount to not exceed $3,300 to be added to the municipal building roof replacement project for additional work which is not limited to work required around the solar panels, which originally were going to be removed by the Public Works Department, and to authorize the town manager to execute a change order for additional work.
Move we adopt resolution 20-85.
Second?
Thank you. Discussion, Catherine, you want to fill us in on this?
So basically, on this one, we were contacted by C.O. Beck and Son after they met with the Public Works foreman, and the Public Works Department decided after looking at the roof units more for the solar panels that they just could not take those down without having an accident or hurting them or damaging them. So that would mean additional cost for the town. So I questioned whether we could fit this into the regular allowance that we had in the contract. And after I put this on the agenda, just to make sure we were covered, the CO Beck came back and said probably you'll be all set, and this will figure into your regular allowance that you put in there for the hatches. But I would like to have this approved and then just keep this in case we need, something else happens, to get over to the municipal building part and something's wrong and they need to have a change order and we don't want to stop the project. But right now it looks like we will not need the $3,300, that they can, the amount of labor that they would have would fit within that $5,000 allowance we had for all of the issues that they had already identified, because things have been going really well. So they are able to work around the solar units and patch that all in.
So they don't need to be replaced?
So
Or they don't need to be
They
taken
do
off?
not need to be moved, which is good. That's much better, because the things that could happen are quite a few things.
Yeah. Gives you a question.
Questions, counselors? Concerns?
I'd rather have this just in case. Right now, we don't need it for what they indicated, but who knows what is going on once they get to the middle of the building where the two buildings are phased together or fused together, and then they got the whole municipal building, town office part too.
Any comments from the audience tonight? Not hearing any. Counselors, let's vote on resolution 20-85. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass.
Resolution 20-86, resolved that the town council authorize the town manager and deputy treasurer to transfer and expend $12,480 from pit number 52 municipal building exterior, also known as G161600, for the municipal building masonry wash, seal, and repointing building.
Move we adopt resolution 20-86.
Second.
Thank you. Counselors, discussion or questions regarding this item, housekeeping item?
Taking money out of the reserve accounts requires the approval of the town council. I deliberately waited on this just to make sure that these low prices were working, and they are working well.
Any questions or concerns from the audience tonight? Not seeing any. Counselors, let's vote on resolution 20-86. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. Resolution 20-87.
Resolution 20-87, resolved that the town council authorize the town manager and deputy treasurer to transfer and expend $16,850 from pit number 53, Fire Station Exterior, also known as G162700, for the fire station masonry repointing/replacement project.
Move we adopt resolution 20-87.
Second.
Thank you. Questions, concerns, counselors? Other housekeeping items?
Yep, the same thing. Things have been going so well. I had wanted to wait before we did the transfer because it's complicated to transfer the monies out of the reserve. There's a lot of steps, so I wanted to make sure these low prices were working before I transferred it out, and then had to transfer more out later on.
Questions or concerns from the audience tonight? Not hearing any, counselors, let's vote on resolution 20-87. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. Resolution 20-88.
Resolution 20-88, resolved that the town council authorize the town manager and deputy treasurer to transfer and expend $7,064.66 from pit number 21, Airport Improvement Reserve, also known as G1611-00, for the town share of the engineering for the permitting and design to construct an 8-unit T-hangar and apron.
Move we adopt resolution 20-88.
Second.
Questions, counselors? Another bookkeep or housekeeping item to be able to move the project forward?
It is, and I did want to note, I have to list this as the actual title, but it's now a 6-unit, since that grant was listed specifically 8-unit T-hangar, but now it's been determined by the state and federal government we can only have a 6. But that's its title.
Okay. So do we need to make any changes to
No,
this?
because I have to call it its title.
Okay. So maybe just a note in there that it's
Yeah.
actually 6.
6 units.
Okay. Any questions from the audience tonight? Not hearing any. Counselors, resolution 20-88. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. Resolution 20-89.
Resolution 20-89, resolved that the town council authorize the town manager to sign all necessary paperwork, including the town standard services agreement for sewer system operations work as needed.
Move we adopt resolution 20-89.
Second.
Thank you. Catherine, do you want to fill us
Yes.
in on this one?
Yes, so our long-term contractor, Akron, decided that they no longer wanted to be the wastewater operator for the town's sewer treatment facility, which is a lagoon system. Bill Ball, who has since retired and I believe was out of state, was the one who designed the project, and we haven't talked to any of the principals for years. So they indicated that they wanted to give that up. So you need to have a licensed operator of the length and height of number 2. So it has to be wastewater operator number 2. We do not have one on board and haven't had one the whole time I've been here and even before. So we need to contract with the company. We contacted Oliver Associates and wondered, is this going to be something we can actually afford, and how would this all work? And they were actually quite excited. They were not excited when we took them on for the water way back, but they could see how these two programs could actually work together. So they sent me a sample contract, which I just received and have to look through. They're talking about how there's all kinds of extra projects that they can put in to get this contract and work on the ordinances and the programs, and all of this would not cost us the fees that we were going to be charged before. So the price that they came up with, and this is subject to negotiation, and I think that we probably would negotiate a little bit. They indicated to be the wastewater treatment plant facilitator with the number 2 license. It would be $2,400 a month $600 a week. And so we might want to try to negotiate that down a little bit. The water is $4,800, and there's a lot of extra reports that are required. So I think maybe if we had a package deal here, we might be able to work this a little bit. But they were very enthusiastic, and we've already started working on a whole number of projects. I've given them the information to sort of re-energize everything. Plus, they were having issues with COVID-19, which set back a lot of their projects too. So we're working on the water rate increase, which is necessary. No matter what we do, we need to have a water rate increase. And if we're able to have the $85,000 reserve payment that is due under the USDA loan grant agreement for the $3.8 million project that we had a number of years ago, if we're able to take that out and get that removed from the budget because we have sufficient funds, we may not need a sewer rate increase, but we definitely do need a water rate increase. Now, thrown into this mix is the fact that we've got Puritan coming back on, so that may help us with revenues considerably. We'll have to see how much water is involved there, but that may be very helpful. And if somehow we could get the SAS plant on in some sort of something going on there, that might be helpful too, because these places all closed and then our water revenues went down. And so far we've been going along, but you can't do anything extra, you can't do any projects anymore. We have just enough to cover the debt service payments. And the one item that the town is running into, as many towns are with the older system, when the GASB, the General Accepted Standards for Auditing, changed so that town water and wastewater facilities would charge depreciation. Well, you can see what would happen. It makes your books look like you're losing money when in actuality we have never spent more money on expenses in water and wastewater than the revenues we've taken in. I mean, you just don't do that. But they charge the depreciation and then it makes it look like it does. And so that was something Caleb would always bring that up. So there's nothing we can do to change that, so we do need to change our water rate to help with the situation. But if we're able to get that USDA payment out for sewer, that might stop or at least make the sewer rate increase less. So Oliver is committed to working on these projects. We told them that we've been working on the sewer ordinance because we have 3 versions, and they said, no, we'll do the sewer ordinance. So they seem very enthusiastic. So I thought we could try this for a while and then see if we can get to some economies of scale. They eventually would like to actually have the employees be their employees, but that's not something that we're doing now. We would just look at they wanted to actually operate them and have some sort of contract on that, beyond just being the wastewater or the water operator. But those are options we need to look at and figure out what works for us.
Catherine, where are you on that USDA thing?
That's what I was gonna ask.
We've made numerous contacts and nothing so far. I have several people that are looking into it, but the contacts that we had are no longer in their positions, or I could have got this resolved much easier. Yeah. We had a Northern Regional Border Commission grant item in which the amendment got hung up for a year and 2 months just trying to get through the federal system. Yeah.
I'm not shocked, but
So we'll keep chugging away because it would be great not to put that $85,000 payment into the 2021 budget.
So how much did you say it was a month that Oliver was?
Right now, as they propose, and
For the water?
Yeah, for the water will be 2,400.
No, that's the wastewater.
Yeah, for the for the water it's 4,800.
4,800.
It's 4,800. There are a lot more requirements to the water.
Right.
All the reports. The
I just
wastewater
didn't
system
catch
is
the
much
number.
easier. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we might be able to negotiate. That one's already done and in play. This is for wastewater, so $600 a week. Yeah, it really doesn't sound like much, but over a year is a bit. So we might be able to reduce that a bit. We would work on that.
Well, with the 2,400 for the sewer and 4,800 a month for the water, it comes out to about 86,400. So that's pretty close to what that $85,000 dollars payment is. So that would be good.
Catherine, what are you looking for us to do with this? Are we, with this authorization, the necessary paperwork, we're giving you the authority to add this on to all of our associates since
We'll
we're
do
utilizing
this,
them
we'll
already?
do this now.
I know we need to have somebody doing this.
Right, that's why we have to do it now. So what we would do, they agreed, we would terminate services with each other, just like in the water, if we don't like the way this is set up, or got another contractor, or all of a sudden hired an employee who had the proper licenses. Yeah.
Okay.
So this would be the same type of arrangement. It's pretty open-ended, going month to month.
Awesome,
But
thank
it's
you.
not something, I mean, you can just go ahead and do this. That's what we're
Yes,
giving you the
yes,
permission
yes.
to do that.
Yeah.
Just
There
wanna
aren't
make
any,
that clear.
the first time when we did this for the water, we thought that there were a lot more companies out there that would do this than Oliver. And when we called around, we did not find that, because of the liability part.
So it seems like it might be some simplicity into having water and sewer
Yes.
managed by the same company as well.
I do think so,
And they're
yes.
very familiar with all
And
of our
if it-
systems anyways, we've done so much work with them. And
Yeah.
And with our employees and.
Yeah,
Very
no, they're very
comfortable.
good.
Yeah.
Everybody works well together.
Okay, any other discussion, counselors? Anyone in the audience have questions or discussion? Okay, let's vote on resolution 20-89. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. Resolution 20-90.
Resolution 20-90 resolves that the town council adopt the budget calendar for the 2021 budget process.
Will we adopt resolution 20-90?
Second.
Discussion, counselors.
Catherine, I have a question about this. I was looking over the schedule and I thought we discussed meeting on the off Tuesdays.
We did.
We did,
But a lot of
but-
these dates were actually for Thursdays, which makes it very difficult for my schedule.
Okay, I thought that they were for Tuesdays, so let me pull this out and check this out.
Like the 27th is actually a Thursday. And
27th
unless I'm
of
looking at the wrong
August.
Oh, okay,
For
okay.
finance committee.
All right, those are the finance committee ones. Finance committee, I was thinking, my God, what have I done? But no, the finance committee had been meeting on Thursdays, but if you can't, then we can change that around.
It makes it much easier for me, I don't know about the other finance committee, if we keep it on Tuesdays, because I can block that night off. But I have a lot of other meetings that tend to pop up on Thursdays.
So are you thinking that the finance committee meetings would be in the off Tuesdays, so every single meeting would be on Tuesday?
And budget meetings as well, yes.
Yes,
When we're not
okay,
having
all
the,
right.
that would be my preference.
So would we do like finance at 5 and then
Yeah.
budget workshop at 6:30 or something?
Something along those
6 or
lines.
Okay, we
6:30?
Yeah.
can do that.
I'm
If-
okay with that.
If that works for people's schedules.
That will work for the weeks in which we're on the off council meeting nights and doing workshops. The other ones won't work just because of everything that's going on.
What other ones?
Well, if there's a
A
finance
regular
committee
meeting.
scheduled for the same week as a council meeting, and the council meeting has a workshop at the end of it, I don't think you'd wanna have a finance committee meeting starting at
Correct.
5,
No.
do that, do a council
No.
meeting, and then have a workshop afterwards.
No.
No.
So,
Yeah.
Does the finance
Right.
committee have to meet every week? I don't know, this is my
No.
first one. Do
We
they
don't
have to meet every week?
Not at all, so let's go
We've been
down.
meeting twice, we were meeting twice a month, right?
Right.
right, and I
And
think
then we put it on hold for a while.
in the budget cycle, we were meeting to kind of preview the additionals, and we kind of went through the budgets before they came to the full council. We kind of like previewed everything to kind of work through some of the kinks before it came through the full council.
Okay. So meeting before a budget workshop would be plenty, correct?
Yes, on the
Well,
budget
I-
workshop ones, that would be
And
fine.
some of the dates we have,
This might actually work out okay. I'm going down and making some changes right now. Because I didn't put you in for as many finance committee meetings as you had last time. I tried to put them in where there were items that were happening so that you could work on them.
Well, I know last time it was difficult because I had a course that I had to go to.
Okay.
But I don't have that anymore.
The other thing that we have have to consider too, as far as putting the finance committee meetings in there. The finance committee is going to meet and discuss and make recommendations to the council. We might wanna be able to have time in between to have that
digest
prepare a
it.
report and have some, instead of having things scribbled down, to have it like typed and ready to give to the council.
I
And if we
agree.
have a finance committee meeting directly before a council meeting, then there wouldn't be that time to prepare things.
No, I
for that.
agree, yeah, you shouldn't have it right before.
All right, I think this will actually work out good, very good. So let's look at the calendar. I looked at the finance committee meetings that are traditionally Thursdays, and they can definitely be changed to the Tuesdays because each one of them was the off week. Because I used the same schedule as you used before, you were doing the off week, not after the council meeting. So this actually will work out perfectly. So for the dates that will change, your August 27th finance committee meeting will become August 25th. Your October 15th finance committee meeting will become October 13th.
October what, 15th?
13th, and I'll send this out to you tomorrow.
15th becomes the 13th.
Becomes the 13th. They're each gonna be 2 days less. So your October 29th meeting will become October 27th. And your finance committee meeting on November 12th will become November 10th. And I wonder where Veterans Day is here.
So we have, there's also a town
Veterans Day is on
council,
Wednesday.
That's okay. Yeah, that
there's
works
the
fine.
town council workshop that same evening.
And that's
Which
okay.
evening?
It's
The 10th?
okay if they're the workshop, it's not okay if they're the council meeting.
Right, it's just a workshop.
Yeah, I
Well,
think
if
that would
the
work.
finance committee is gonna make recommendations,
Not, well,
but I don't know that we would have
We-
capital expenditures, all the additional.
Yeah, you don't
and
really have the
actually,
information.
I think it would be good, I think it would be good for the finance committee to meet prior to the workshop. So there could be a discussion based on whatever is decided in the finance meeting. Cause it's all just a workshop, so we all get to discuss what we just discussed an hour earlier.
So your last one is your December 10th finance committee meeting, that would become December 8th. Yeah, they're all workshop nights, so that's good. So for those of you who are coming down for 2 nights during the week, you'll be coming down for one, long one.
What date was that, the 8th?
Yes.
The 12/10 finance committee meeting would become 12/8.
Yeah.
And so I'll revise that all for you, that should actually work out really good.
Thank you very much, Catherine.
Yes, you're welcome.
I think it'll work out for everybody. We won't be as tired. And then when we get to the end, when we actually have the public there, we won't look like we've been dragged through the mud.
Yeah, this is gonna be a challenging year. Our revenues are down, our valuation is not gonna be increasing much. Next year, 2021, the April 1st valuation will be much higher because we have a large company in town with a lot of personal property that will be picked up. But this is
Not
Yeah.
gonna be.
which
a
is
good
for
year.
which is for the next one, so, you know, it's gonna be
But we
challenging.
still have
This
things
year
that-
that we have now that we're going through, when the commitment's done, this is gonna be challenging.
So when, on the August 25th is our first finance committee meeting, do we have items to discuss?
You
with the
will,
Budget
yes.
at that time?
Yes, because by 8/14, budget forms and instructions will be going out to everyone, and then we will not have all of them in, but I have several people that bring in their budgets early enough. Yeah, so you'll have a few.
Are
In
you
general,
talking about the
those-
August 11th? Which date were you talking about, Heather?
August 25th was August 27th. But also, we're having, you know, it's been difficult to get all the signatures on the warrant, so this will help too.
Okay. So right now, our first town council budget workshop is the 11th of August.
Yes, and for that workshop, you want to discuss the overall trends, which I can provide you with. And then there had been some discussion, we would talk about the comprehensive plan a little bit. I don't know if that would be in with this or
I
not.
think it would be appropriate.
I think so too.
We'd have to limit it, but yes, it seems like.
That's what we've been talking about, the comprehensive plan and using it as a guide. This is the first time for us to actually start doing
Is
it.
it possible for us, if we're all gonna be here too, we haven't met since what, February or January, on the revision of the,
That is on the docket for August. Catherine had some, for the
Revision?
revision of the town manager review.
yes.
That's on the
Oh.
docket for August. Catherine's gonna be looking at her, we wanted to get this schedule done, and then there was a couple grants that she was working on to get out of the way before dealing with that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
Because I know we'll wanna
August
get that
dates.
done soon.
Yeah, we're looking at August dates for that.
Great,
Yes,
thank
I've
you.
had several hundred extra hours that got added on due to several items that happened and how the contractors are doing things along with the grant project, so we've
Oh, no,
been
that's
outspread.
fine. I knew it's been on our radar, and
Yeah.
with COVID and everything went up in the air.
It did,
So,
right. Yeah, we wanted to do this first and then we'll do that.
okay, great, thank you.
Counselors, any other questions about the budget calendar?
So just to clarify, what, you said August 11th?
Yes.
August
Is the
11th is
first
our
one.
first council budget workshop.
Okay. And same time as a regular council meeting, 6:30?
6:30. I think these are all starting at 6:30.
Yeah, just wanted to
And
make
then
sure.
Amanda, does 6:30 work for the finance committee meetings as well? I know you were.
Oh, yeah,
That's good.
If that works for you guys, it works for
The
me.
6th.
I'm working
Can we
from
do
home
6?
for the foreseeable future, so if you guys wanted to meet earlier, we could, but 6:30 seems to work for people, and I'm fine with that.
So if you're having workshops at night, which are the town council workshops, you are gonna have to meet earlier for your finance committee.
Well, when they happen on the same day,
Okay.
yes, we'll have to do that, but.
I think 5 o'clock on the nights that we have a finance committee meeting and a budget workshop would work.
Yes.
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 In general, for me, 6:30 works pretty good. It's still quite a lot of daylight, and daylight's premium right now.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the day shares, I'm fine with them 5 o'clock. Like I said, for the foreseeable future, I'm not traveling back and forth from Orno.
Okay. All right, any other questions, concerns, discussion items?
So I'll send out your revised calendar tomorrow so you all have it.
Thanks so much,
Catherine, can you note the finance committee meetings that are gonna have a 5 o'clock start time on there?
Yes,
If they coincide, maybe have them on the same line or something, just so that it shows that they're the same day.
I'm gonna put the times on them.
That'll work too. Okay. All right, so do we want to approve this, I suppose? Okay, resolution 20-90, approving the town council budget calendar for 2021 with the changes that we've discussed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that will pass, and we'll look for an updated version of that from Catherine when she has time to do the update.
And Catherine, that's just considered technical changes, right? So we don't need a motion to
No,
amend
no,
that.
no.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure so that we didn't have to come back next time and do
No,
that.
you're all set, thank you.
It's a pretty minor thing too, I think it's minor.
Well, that's what I figured,
We're
but-
not spending any money or anything like
One
that.
time we didn't do that, and then we had to re-vote on it.
Yeah. Okay, resolution 20-91.
Resolution 20-91, resolved that the town council approve the payment of the monthly disbursements in the amount of $278,878.73 for July 2020 and $278,878.63 for the months of August 2020 through June 2021 to SAB 53 for its fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2020 and ending June 30th, 2021 for a fiscal year total of $3,346,543.66, which represents the town of Pittsfield's share of SAD 53's local appropriation funds.
Move we adopt resolution 20-91.
Second.
Discussion, counselors, this is a housekeeping item, lots of those tonight.
But a big
Yeah,
Should pay for
we
those
really
bills.
don't have any choice.
No, it was already approved, so.
This is a disbursement. Any other discussion? Audience?
Nothing we can do about it.
Counselors, I'm sorry, Bob?
He
Said
said
there's nothing we can do about it.
Oh,
That's
right.
it, that-
Yeah.
Set in stone, so.
Yeah. Okay, counselors, all those in favor of resolution 20-91, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. Resolution 20-92.
Resolution 20-92, resolved that the town council approve the payment of weekly payroll checks in accordance with the following accounts. Personnel services, known as 01-05 regular, 01-10 overtime, 01-15 part-time, 01-20 supply operations, 01-25 supply maintenance, 01-30 distribution maintenance, 01-35 customer accounts, and 01-40 Piker.
Move we adopt resolution 20-92.
Second.
Another housekeeping item.
It is.
That's for the
Discussion,
year.
counselors.
It allows the payroll checks to be issued each week, so the employees love you because of it.
So we have to like
So
approve
this
this
is for
every
the
so many
year?
months?
Every year, yes.
Every year.
And this one could be done with the others at the beginning of the year, but rather than leave the SAD by itself, you know, I've always left this here because it was set up this way years ago.
Any discussion or questions from the audience? Not hearing any. Counselors, all those in favor of resolution 20-92, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, that will pass. 20-39.
Resolution 20-93, resolves that the town council appoint members, we don't want to go back to 30. Resolve that the town council appoint members to fill the vacancies on the various town boards and committees.
Move we adopt resolution 20-93.
Second.
So we have, and this is wonderful, Alan Dumpy, who's been off the planning board for a number of years. He was a chairperson and did a great job. He wants to be on the Board of Appeals and would be in a term through 12/31/2024. This was a vacancy that was not filled at the beginning of the year. It's hard to get members to the Board of Appeals because there's not a lot of cases that are heard. And then again, wonderful, Robert Stackhouse is interested in a term on the Personal Appeals Board for a term through 12/31/2021, a long-term town councilor. And we had a resignation from the board, which is why the position was available.
So the board would be full then, would the Board of Appeals also be full with Alan coming
No.
on here?
No, I think there might be one more vacancy.
One more vacancy.
That one is, they didn't meet for years, so it's hard to keep people on the fund.
Understandable.
So Board of Appeals does tax abatement?
No, that's the Board of Assessment Review. That one's even harder. Board of Appeals would
It's
hear
planning.
adjustments, people that do not agree with the decision of the building inspector. And generally, these are ones in which people want to build a garage and there's not enough setback to their line. So they will ask for the Board of Appeals to rule that they can reduce that. So then the people, we had one of those last night. So the people will come and present their argument and then usually get approved so that they can build their deck or garage.
Okay.
That's what we have to do.
You had one of those, yeah.
Yes, we did.
Counselors, any
Few years ago.
questions regarding 20-93?
No, anytime we have somebody willing to step up for our
Yeah.
this is great.
Any comments from the audience? All those in favor of resolution 20-93, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any of those, we'll pass. Congratulations.
Welcome back, Bob.
Welcome back, Bob.
Senior citizen thing didn't work out so well, so.
This is
So
how
now,
retirement
so now we
worked
need
out.
to find a third person, right? There's three people on,
This fills the vacancy. There's 3. Stan Short,
no, Stan.
Bob,
There's
Still
still
one.
one
Stan
spot
Short
open,
got
Jan
done,
resigned.
and then Jan resigned.
Stan, wait a minute, I missed something.
On what?
Stan resigned?
He did,
From what?
Board of Personnel Appeals.
I was
You know,
not
that
aware
just
of that.
happened. He said he had too many other projects to do. Evidently, he's quite busy now.
Okay.
He got
I
on the
wasn't
board
aware of
when he
that.
wasn't busy, and he actually then started working for the town. But now he's quite busy.
So there's still one
So there's
empty
still
seat.
1 open seat on the Personnel Board of Appeals and probably 1 open seat on the Board of Appeals.
Oh, definitely.
Yes,
Board of-
definitely there.
We have
Assessment,
Jan is back.
assessment review.
Assessment review has openings, and there might be other items open, so if you're looking to serve in the town on committees, you can check with Nicole, has a full list of
Yeah.
opportunities to be able to serve on different boards, so check in with Nicole.
Yeah, we're specifically concerned with the Board of Assessment Review. Only in that, we do have a new assessing firm in the last couple of years, and of course, there have been more people that have come in, and there will be some larger adjustments that take place here. So it would be good to have that board filled. It needs somebody who feels comfortable in, it's not a legal setting, but the assessment reviews are run sort of very formal process, and likes to process details and facts and make a decision.
Okay.
And they need one,
2.
they need 2.
Discussion items, department reports?
Yes, for department reports, we have all the reports were provided. I do not have the financial reports as I listed on the sheet, in that we had the election and all kinds of vacations. So without all the postings there, I posted everything I could do, but payroll wasn't available, so I could not reconcile June. And so the one project which I've gotten through multiple grants, several projects with hundreds of hours to them. The state's investigation of the accident that took place here that took Dottie and my time of approximately 107 hours. So my last big project to do, once I get to August I'll be happy, is to help the staff resolve how all the monies are going into the account, and it's not, the postings aren't equaling. So that's in the bank reconciliation since we came back from COVID-19. Well, I was here, but since the staff came back from COVID-19, the state came back. The bank reconciliations are taking like 10 times as much time to do this, and a lot more money is going in. So the postings that come from the state sometimes are less than the money that goes into our account. So I'm going to help the staff. I have 2 staff members working on that. So I'm going to go back and redo everything from May on and get that resolved. And that will be resolved at the end of July, one way or another.
Just have one question on the transfer station.
Yes.
Not on his report, because he's always pretty detailed. Where are we on the building?
Yes, well, the building's been there for some time. They were still waiting for CMP to get things scheduled so that they could do all the electrical work. Now, we have commitment from the electrician and from everybody that will have to be up there, that as soon as CMP has a schedule, they will all come and they will all work on this. And that it will start Saturday night at 6:05 and continue over the weekend, so that they can open on Tuesday, if at all possible.
So the holdup is really CMP?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
It's a commercial one, and it's got the transformer down there, and there's a funny electrical setup, beyond our funny electrical setup.
Any other items?
No other items, thank you.
All right, counselor reports, actually, audience reports. Oh,
I don't have much, but I got a couple things. First of all, I just want to say this is my first meeting back since I've been up to council, and it's hard to sit back here and not say aye. I want to raise my hand and say aye every time.
You can wait for it.
And the transfer station permits, we can pick them up here, Catherine?
Pardon?
The transfer station permits?
Yes, you can get them right here.
Okay.
Yes, there has been some talk. We had a citizen contact us who wants them sold at the transfer station, and the transfer station doesn't want to sell them, and our insurance doesn't cover it, but
And we're not set up to handle money down
we're
there.
not
so-
set up to handle money unless, like, I come down or somebody, one of the ladies does, just because of our bond and everything, which would then change our insurance and everything. So I think with them running around checking on everything, they can't take care of the money too. But other than that, yes, you can get that here. Bob, you won't be able to go there, no matter if you say you were a past counselor or not.
I just have one other thing. Last year, the paving project, Detroit Avenue was supposed to be finished, but they had issues with the manhole covers, I think it was. Have those come in? 'Cause I haven't seen any work up there at all, and I noticed that the pavement up there is coming up, where we're back down to the regular pavement in some spots.
Yeah, Steve, when
So
you...
that needs to be finished as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, it does need to be finished, and we have the money held in escrow for that, as well as the work that was an issue down on State Road Road with the amount of money that was withheld from the payment. And then the Detroit Avenue was not done, but there are issues there, and Steve wanted to hold off on this because he wanted to see how much was gonna come off and what the condition was before we just went down and put those in and put the surface on with a problem underneath coming up. So yes, we have the monies for those in the bond proceeds for the 2019 CIP loan.
So is that going to get finished this year, or?
We told Steve it should be, yes.
Okay. I'll keep an eye on it. That's all I have.
Yes, we do need to keep an eye on it, it should be done. And if there's something wrong, it needs to be fixed, so let's just move on.
But I just noticed some spots that are coming up that are
I
right back
know.
down to the original pavement, so.
Well, the longer we wait, the more space, the more places come up.
Right,
too.
exactly.
Yeah.
All set?
All set.
Thanks, Bob. Mike, did you have anything tonight?
Other than Pete is working diligently on a couple of projects, I would hope we would have a meeting in the not too distant future.
Excellent. Look forward to it.
I'd love to see the tax base come up
Absolutely.
considerably.
We'll go to counselors. Pete, do you want to get us started tonight?
I have no report this evening.
Okay, Deborah?
I'd just like to say thank you to everybody under all the different conditions and not being able to actually come to the meeting if they want to, but I think the Zoom is working really well. And I'd also like to give a bravo to the Public Works for getting the crosswalks done in unbearable heat. My husband
They do look
came
nice.
home and looked like a dish rag. But they're done and they look good, and that's all I have.
You know, it was interesting, it works better when it's warm, but of course you don't want employees out in that much heat, but these will probably, that paint will probably stay longer because it looks so humid.
Let's hope.
Amanda?
I'd also like to thank the people in the audience for attending. Even though somebody said it was a boring thing, I know sometimes we can talk about some interesting things even if it looks boring. Also, I just wanted to ask, are we talking with MCI in Warsaw about the possibility of using their gymnasiums? With, I'm sure, MCI being the preference since it happens during a school day and they would want the population out of a separate building?
That is on the town clerk's list. She wanted to finish all the election papers first, call the state to make sure that we have enough time to change over. We think we do. And then she's got a list of 2 other places besides the schools.
Okay.
I mean, she prefers it here, but we've got to check into this.
Oh, yeah, I agree. November is going, I mean, we had a bigger turnout in a lot of places for the primary, even with everything going on, so I expect November will be twice, if not 3 times the turnout. Also, I wanted to mention the water main pipe on the corner of Library Street is still tilted. There is a hole right next to that on the road side of it. Somebody is going to accidentally step in that. And so it really needs to be put on a priority to fix that.
Yeah,
Especially now that we have some students back on the MCI campus for their summer program.
Yeah, I have mentioned it a few times, and now I don't like to do this, but I did put a formal work order in.
Okay, great. Thank you. Also, I wanted to say welcome to the new board members. I'm excited we have more citizens stepping up. Welcome back to both members. Also, I read through the minutes, obviously, from the last meeting. Again, I apologize for not being able to be here for that. I just wanted to say that I had read the statement that Councilor Billings had made for her, what is this called? Report. Sorry. And I don't know necessarily that it's a thought of having I don't want to call it a plan of succession, because I don't like that term, and I'm sure that's what threw you off as well. But I think it's a good idea to have some kind of backup plan. We, of course, don't want to be thinking about Catherine not being able to be here. She does do a lot of work for our town. She's mostly able to be reached when she's not involved in other town business, and I think that we can all applaud a lot of the effort that she puts into running our town. I do think that it's a good idea to have some kind of backup plan if, God forbid, something were to happen and Catherine had to be out for a month or something like that.
Well, that's a backup plan.
Well, I think that's the idea. We never know. I have it at my job. I have all of my duties are listed out very, very detailed. And then I have somebody look over those detailed instructions because I know how I do my job. And I may not necessarily list it out the way that it may be read by somebody else because I know what I'm doing. So maybe instead of calling it a plan of succession, we talk about how we could get things put in place, God forbid something could happen.
So
either for Catherine or somebody else in our office. I mean, if our deputy treasurer was out, or any of those positions, we should have some kind of process plan in place.
So we do have a backup plan.
Okay, good.
And we have all the duties listed and who does them, who's first and who's second.
Is there a really detailed process? Because I know you have a lot of intricate things you have to do, Catherine.
It is true. We have enough. The backup plan would work for probably 2 or 3 months. After that, it would not work. But that's all. You understand. That's all.
I
really
sure
need.
do understand that. Because then you're just training somebody new because it has to come back. Okay, I didn't know that stuff was in place, and that's when I read that, I thought that it's a good point that we don't want to plan on Catherine being gone because that's not, but we also want to make sure that our town can run if, God forbid, she did have to leave.
Right. And I agree with that,
Yeah.
but the author did not mean that. The author meant...
I guess I didn't get copied on that email because I never received that.
You didn't?
No.
I'd be more than glad to give you a copy.
Do you utilize the town email that?
That's the one that I have all of my emails come
Yeah,
from.
that's the one.
Okay.
That's the only one she uses.
Okay, so.
Because I don't want my personal stuff being involved with town business.
Right.
Yeah, she and Pete are really good about that. The rest of you are on both, on all one.
I have all of mine forwarded, so go ahead and send it to
I have folders for mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
So
so
I must have missed that email.
I'll pull that out. We have that.
Yeah, if it could be forwarded to me so I can look through it, that would be great. But I mean, again, my response is based off the fact that I didn't see the email and I didn't know that we already had a good backup plan in place. So that's it. That's all I have for my report. I think that it's great that we're meeting again. Let's advertise Zoom even more because that planning board meeting that we had last week was awesome with the number of people on that Zoom meeting. And I'd like to see that happening for our town council meetings as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, once we get into the budget, I'm sure things will get going.
Is the Zoom meetings recorded as well as the town hall stream?
Yes and no. We have recorded them. Some of them haven't recorded properly. I haven't figured that out yet.
Okay.
But yes, we're working on that.
Let me know when you have time available, I'll show you how to set it up so it auto does it.
Well, I did put it in so it would auto do it, and then it didn't do it, so, you know, so then I took it out. and
Well,
I-
there you go.
And I noticed the screen changed, 2 meetings ago. I had 8 meetings set up in a row, and then the screen changed, and there's a couple of things that you can't, there's no reactions anymore.
They did another big update.
Oh, okay, so it's not me. We thought we did something here.
No, they did another really large update.
All set, Amanda?
Yes, I'm all set.
Okay, thank you. Tim?
I'm glad that you guys all enjoy that. I tend to prefer 8-party phone lines, smoke signals, and snail mail. It just works better for me, but I'm in the minority, what can I say? I wanted to thank Bob for volunteering, and Alan Dumpty as well. And thanks for coming, Mike, and giving us an update on Pete. Appreciate it, and appreciate the service, Bob. I took a ride down to the parks, and you know something, guys? Their parks are in remarkably good shape, considering everybody's been out, and everybody's been, you know, there hasn't been a lot of activity, and what there is scattered. And I've been around other towns and looked at some of their park stuff, and I'll tell you, ours is miles ahead of what other people's are. Manson Park included Hawthorne. So just so that we're, you know, I just wanted to throw that out there. So whoever's responsible for that is doing an excellent job, whether we're talking about the park committee or we're talking about town
Yeah,
employees or whatever.
different people depending on the park.
But they are in excellent shape considering what other towns are looking like. I won't name names, but I was riding around for a day or so and I noticed that. I picked that right up quick. So our parks really look good, so they haven't deteriorated.
So they're really well taken care of. We were able to get grants for all of them except for Manson Park, and they have their own money. But also the maintenance has been excellent, and people have really been treating them well too.
Yeah, they're not trashed. They're not. Well, some of them are, but not us. So I'm very, very fortunate.
I think there's more and more interest in keeping the parks in good order because they are an asset to the town. And I think more and more people are thinking that way.
Some of these other places, the parks, when they do go to fix them, they're going to be spending a lot of money. And we've kept ours really good. I'm glad to see it's been busy. Hopefully, like you said, Pete's working on some things, and hopefully we'll get some more tax dates up and going. I do want to, I don't like to be a downer, I do want to put my condolences out to Craig Hunt's family. He passed away, and I've known Craig, Bob and I went to school with him since we was little kids. That's Donnie Schutz's uncle. Nice guy. He's one of the good guys. And I don't think he had an enemy in the world. Another person passed away here in town was Linda Belmain, who I've known my whole life as well. Nice lady, lives over on Harriet Street. So my condolences, I put them out to their families. Also, a lot of work going around the Puritan building. Looks really, really good. And it's going to attract a lot, you know, I get a lot of comments about since they cleaned up the brush and all that around where that slopes down by Honeywell. It looks really good.
It is nice.
So, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Tim. Matt?
No report.
Jeez, calm down there.
What's your blood pressure?
I just have a couple things. I also noticed that the crosswalks had been painted and they do look very nice. There's a couple, was it 2 days that they painted?
It took 2 days.
It took a couple days, okay. So I drove through town, I'm like, oh look, they painted them. And then I saw some on the side streets that weren't painted, and then the next day I went through and I'm like, was that painted yesterday? It's painted. So
Yeah,
they must have gone through.
They got their process of how they do them.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, they look great, and I'm glad to see that that's done with so many people out and about. Walking, like with the concert series and things like that, a lot of people are out and about walking, so it's great to have that safety feature there. The concert this week for the summer concert series, Thursday it's supposed to rain, so they're moving the concert to Friday night, and it's the Beatles. It's the Studio 2 for the Beatles, so that's usually a well-attended concert. So that's going to be moved to Friday night instead of Thursday night.
What time do they start?
Did it start at 7? 6:30, 7?
6, I think.
Is it 6? 6
Yeah, I think it's 6 o'clock.
Yeah, and I think they're working on getting a hot dog vendor down there too to have food available as well.
Yeah, they
The-
should
the
be
fire
able to
department.
easily get vendors, because they are desperate for locations.
Yeah, I think there's, I talked to, Nicole the other day about licensing, because the person, that Grandpa's meets has a business here in town, but, you know, they don't usually do outside vending, so I said, you know, do they have licensing, and they don't, so they have to work through all that, so that'll give them an extra day, the rain day gives them an extra day to get that squared away with Nicole and the state and everything.
You know, I'm beginning to wonder if the world stays the way it is, it would be nice if the concert series could actually be on Friday night.
Well, Friday night, it seems to be the new Thursday, because it keeps raining on Thursday.
I
So,
do, I just wanted to make a comment about the hot dogs. The fire department has that hot dog wagon.
oh yeah, they could be down there
So
doing
they
that
could,
as well as a
I'm sure they
fundraiser.
would jump at the chance of, since the egg festival is not happening, they would jump
Oh,
at the
that's
chance
true.
to do that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot, that the Egg Festival is an opportunity for a lot of nonprofits in town to, you know,
Yeah.
get some funds into their coffers to be able to do all the good things that they do.
It's usually the biggest
Oh, absolutely.
fundraiser.
Yeah, yeah. Last year, so we're not doing an open farm day event on the farm this year. Usually it would be coming this coming Sunday. We're not doing one this year. We're looking at doing an October event, which would be Open Creamery Day, would be the Sunday of Columbus Day weekend or Indigenous Peoples Day weekend. So we're trying to kind of think that through and how that could work, and maybe have some community groups come up and provide food and maybe games for kids or something like that to try and kind of fill a little bit of a gap in there. But we're still thinking about that. But yeah, definitely the fire department should contact Jan and Barb as far as organizing that if they wanted to bring the sausage cart down. Catherine, do we have any updated information about the back walkway here?
That is on Steve Vance's, Steve Vance, Public Works has a lengthy list of items that need to be done, and that's one of them, because Steve was told that's gonna be dug up one way or another with a solution before this winter.
Yeah, it needs, this is like year 3 of trying to figure out this issue of that walkway back there.
First,
so.
the prices were too high. Second, we didn't get any bids. And then third, we will do it ourselves.
Right.
One way, and they can easily do that. We just need to get a paving contractor scheduled in enough time.
That was my next question, as far as Bob had mentioned, the paving from last year on Detroit and Snake Route where it needed to be fixed, and there hasn't been any movement on that, and I haven't seen any preparation or movement or anything on the Higgins Road, which is this year's project. I haven't seen anything, no prep work or anything done on that, so.
That is my
know?
concern as well. I in fact have not been able to issue the letter, even though I have the money, I've not been able to issue the letter to Pike, because once we issue that you got the contract and you need to fill it out, then we have to issue the next notice that tells them to go, and there's nothing ready yet. So I have talked to Steve about that.
Yeah, and I know that, you know, he had the injury and everything, but those are really big projects, and a lot of really big projects are being left to the end of the year. So I have serious concerns about them not being completed.
Yeah, I'm concerned too. We have an excellent price from Pike, so we do want to lock them in.
Yes.
And I will lock them in. I know when the days run out, we have their bond, so I will lock them in before then, but I would prefer to lock them in sooner so that we can get this done before we get into the colder weather.
Yeah, it didn't work very well last year, waiting till October to do the paving with the rain and delays and everything. So I think if we can avoid that this year and get the paving done as soon as possible.
No, I agree. Yes, they have a lengthy list of items, but some of these items are more important than the others, and the roadway work is the most important because of the really good price that we have.
Right.
We want to lock that in and get that done, because we will not get that price again next year. And you may not have a loan next year if you're
That's
not
why
going to
we,
use the Pittsfield Future Fund. So, you know,
That's why we put the bid out so early, so
Correct.
it didn't start in October.
Yes.
And I feel like we've kind of missed like the prime weather
Mm-hmm.
to be doing this
It'll
kind
still
of
be
work.
okay, but, and it worked out good last year for the work that went wrong down on Snakeford Road had nothing to do with the weather. Now, perhaps the Detroit Avenue did, but, I think that mostly it was the workmanship,
Mhm.
from what we can tell.
Okay, well, that shouldn't be a problem with Pike doing it
Correct.
this time around.
Correct. Oh, no, this will be good.
The transfer station with the new stickers, they're gonna be required August 1st. Do we have signage up at the transfer station now so that everybody driving in sees a sign that says, as of August 1st, if you don't have a sticker, you know, you are not gonna be using the facilities? I think that's a really, if it's not there, it needs to be there, that's a really big gap. Obviously, if somebody's using the services now, they're gonna wanna use it in August, and we need to be informing them. I just have this vision of them having to turn people away, and people getting kinda ugly about it if they show up with their pickup truck full of things, or they've cleaned out their garage, or whatever, and then all of a sudden being told, no, you can't.
No,
you know?
I understand. So
So-
they were given a huge stack of the pamphlets or the poster, and that has been given out to people as they go in. However, signs would be good. We did talk with them about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have not seen a purchase order request, which means it hasn't been done.
okay, well, we're looking at less than 2 weeks.
Yes.
Before this is
Oh,
gonna
yes.
be,
No.
actually, it's a week from Saturday.
Yeah, no, I went out and looked at how many permits we've given out. There were big rushes, but now it's been kind of quiet. So I'm
Yeah.
doing one big ad and then Facebook each day, which will generate its own interesting questions.
Yeah.
But it will get the word out too.
Yeah,
Catherine,
definitely
another
in the
idea.
week leading up to it, daily reminders on Facebook, as well as sharing it to the Heart of Pittsfield page, just to try and reach as many people as possible is gonna be key to not having a lot of things happening that Saturday, because people are gonna be frustrated. The Puritan building looks great. They've done a little bit more work on it. I drove by yesterday and they have finished putting the sign up and it's all completed. Looks like a totally different building now. But it's really good to see, and it's a great business to bring to town. The reason they're here is unfortunate, but at the same time, if it can bring jobs to town, I'm glad it's here and not somewhere else. So, and with that, I do not have anything else, and I look for a motion.
Move we adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Thank you, and have a good night.
Catherine, for the
Yes,
Facebook
sir.
page too, you can actually.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Pin
Oh, no
the
chance to get
post
bored,
up
let
at
me
the
tell
top
ya.
of the Facebook page.
Yes.
That might be a
You
good
know, it's the
thing.
time
to
of
have
this, I require
for the
some
next
things,
week.
I'm working almost an hour.
I know, I noticed that.
I don't quite understand
We
that.
had a couple of long discussions,
Yes,
but
great, thank you so much.
I like it when
I know, I
there's
try
just
to keep track of
housekeeping
it.
on it.
Well,
So we actually get.
We kind of cheated on that.
You want this on the middle table or over here?
I will take that right now, thank you so much.
You're welcome.